on-time budget. The first time we did 4 in a row in 45 years. Believe it or not, Rockefeller was governor the last time we were able to accomplish that. It means a lot, because I think it means a lot for 2 reasons. First, it shows government is working in the state. It shows we can come together and get things done. Also, by the way, every time we pass an on-time budget, this year no exception, our bond rating goes up, which is something that's crucial, which didn't happen in the past. So I'm very proud that we really took, I think, a balanced approach. One of the things that I tried to do was make sure that we fully funded universal pre-K. We now have, I think, going to have the best program any place in the United States. $300 million a year for the next 3 years. We're going to make sure that just this September, we're going to have 54,000 4-year-olds in the city of New York have full-time universal pre-K that didn't have it before. And you know, everyone talks about how important it is, and it really is. You know, universal pre-K can be a game changer in a child's life. And I think one of the things we lose sight of, what we're doing here benefits everyone. You know, we're going to have universal pre-K in every community in New York. And I know a lot of the communities that I represent, some parents actually pay for universal pre-K out of pocket. Now they'll be able to get it at their local church, synagogue, local public school. So I think it's going to really reduce the burden that many people have who want universal pre-K and are forced to pay for it. The other issue, which is just as important, is housing. You know, one of the things I hear constantly from people is, you know, we really do have 2 distinct groups in our city, the very poor, the very rich. You know, the rich have no problem finding housing, but the middle class really gets squeezed out time and time again. So one of the things we're able to do in this budget is do a statewide comprehensive housing program for $300 million. And something that I've been pushing, which we're going to start and bring it back, is the old Mitchell-Lama program. I know you have people here from Co-op City, the greatest example of Mitchell-Lama. We have other great developments all over our communities. And Mitchell-Lama worked best because it gave you the ability to house a whole host of different income levels under one roof. You know, whenever they talk about affordable housing is not affordable housing, it's low-income housing. Because in order to get affordable housing, your income has to be under $40,000 a year. We have a duty to house these people, I get it. But how about the people in between? And you know something, the middle class is who built our communities and made sure we had a tax base. And I think the Mitchell-Lama program was a great program. So we're going to bring it back. I'm calling it Mitchell-Lama 2020. We're going to build thousands of units over the next 5 years. We're doing it slightly different by offering developers a middle-class tax rebate, which I think is more important because if you think about the concept before, it was a 30-year mortgage at a very low interest rate, which we already have. And a lot of the Mitchell-Lama developments left the system. If we develop this middle-class tax credit, they'll be able to stay in the system longer and make sure the Mitchell-Lama continues indefinitely. Senior citizens, you know, hear it all the time. It's very difficult for seniors to retire here in New York. So I really wanted to concentrate on 2 things that I heard the most about from seniors. One was the high cost of prescription drugs. The other is constant increases in rent. How many people here have heard of the EPIC program? The EPIC program is a prescription drug program. Excellent program. It was started about 15 years ago. It allows senior citizens to use Medicare, their own private pay, and use the EPIC program in conjunction with those 2 different things. You can save up to 80% on your prescription drug costs if you qualify. That covers the copay. It really is an excellent program. The problem is the income level was still too low for many seniors, especially in our communities, to be able to qualify. It was under $35,000. You made a penny more, you weren't eligible for the program. Well, we now increased it substantially. I actually made this one of my priorities in the budget. We got it done. The income level to qualify for EPIC now is going to be $70,000 for an individual, $100,000 for a married couple. You know, you see, we got to get over the fact that if you're a senior citizen and you have a pension and you have Social Security, and you're on a fixed income, $60,000, $70,000 if you're taking 6 or 7 prescription drugs isn't a lot of money. It goes very, very quickly. And I'm glad we're able to accommodate it. And I think because of this increase, in the eligibility, we're going to have thousands and thousands of more seniors right here in the Bronx, in communities that encompass Community Board 10, being able to take part in this program. It's very important. The other issue is SCREE. There's a program called the Senior Citizen Rent Increase Exemption Program. Again, it's a city-based program. To be able to qualify, a senior citizen has to be 62 years of age or older, and their income level can't be above $29,000. Has to be below $29,000. Again, many seniors who I think are petrified about an increase in rent, especially even if they're in the rent stabilization system, are really, really concerned. We're now raising it to $50,000. So again, thousands of seniors are going to be able to deal with the fact that they can freeze their rent. It's something I think that's very, very important. The other issue for homeowners, one of the things we did this year was we dedicated $170 million over the next 2 years for 2 programs that we're starting up in New York. First is a circuit breaker. This is for homeowners, co-op owners, condo owners. A circuit breaker takes into account the proportion of your income that you pay in property taxes. And it gives you a check to make up that difference. Very good for senior citizens because they pay a higher proportion of their property taxes, their portion of their income in property taxes. It's, I think, going to work very, very well for seniors. If you know what the STAR exemption is, you still have the STAR exemption. This is in addition to the STAR exemption, and it'll give you a rebate check to cover the difference of your increase in property taxes. We didn't want to leave out renters, so now we're going to have the first ever renter tax credit. So any renter who makes under $100,000 is going to be able to qualify for the program. It's something that's, I think, very, very important. So I think altogether, that $170 million for the circuit breaker and the renter relief, I think are going to take a very positive approach on helping not only senior citizens, but all homeowners and renters. It was something that was important. Again, we wanted to concentrate really on working people, which I think was crucial. One of the other things that I think is very, very important, especially in our communities, is gun violence. One of the things in John Doyle, right back there, we're able to continue Operation Snug, which is an anti-gun violence program that is being run now by Jacoby Hospital. We're going to continue it throughout the Bronx. It's a Bronx-wide program, which I think is something that, again, is very, very important. So again, I want to thank you for allowing me to say a few words. I think most of the people know already about, if you don't, the City Island Bridge. I think it was a major victory for the community, and I think this proves a very simple truth. If the community comes together, all the elected officials come together, I think we can be successful. And I think what happened here was we brought a lawsuit on behalf of the City Island Civic Association. It allowed us to delay the process, stop the process, and the new commissioner of transportation met with all of us the other day, and she now says she is going to do a complete about-face, and she is going to install the exact same bridge that is already there. They're doing away with the
also the mayor and his appointees are very close now with you and concerned about individual communities, which help. I mean, we have those
ready to get
here.
I was ready to get there. Without being overly partisan, I wanted to say that one of the things that I met with is the mayor, and the mayor was fantastic, and the mayor immediately had his commissioner get on this. She was on the phone with Assemblymember Benedetto, Councilmember Vaca, and with the community, and I mean, it was a complete about-face of what took place over the last 15 years. And this is, I think, a very important community effort, because again, I think all of us at Community Board 10, whether or not you live in City Island, we're very protecting of our communities. That's the way it should be. I think we all understand that we're either going to sink or swim together. So if one community has an issue, it's all of our issues. And I think Community Board 10 was outstanding. I know you bought us some time by voting down that easement, and I thank you for that, because that also continues this process. So thank you all very much, and if I have time, I'll answer a couple questions.
Before you run away, I just want to, as chairman of the youth committee, if you would just mention the community schools, because I think that's a great thing you've done. I know that was your doing, please just tell people a little about
Well,
that.
I should have mentioned that, thank you, Bob, because we actually continued. One of the things that I did in last year's budget, there's a concept called community schools. It sounds very simple, but it hasn't been done in New York. It's been very successful in the city of Cincinnati. What it does is it makes a school the focal point of a community. You know, everyone always asks the questions, why isn't a school building open to 8, 9 o'clock at night? Well, it keeps schools open to 8, 9 o'clock at night. It has after-school programs. It has programs for adults, continuing learning programs. It has school-based health programs, mental health programs, dental, eyeglasses. You know, 45% of New York City school children, you know, haven't had their eye exam. And, you know, they go through that and no one can figure out why they're not reading properly, and it's really because they haven't had an eye exam. So it has all of those components, and what it does is a community school works in conjunction with the community, local businesses, for job training programs, works with health centers, works with community leaders. To establish a community school, it's $250,000. Last year, I was able to get a community school at PS 14 and PS 83. This year, I was able to get another $7 million in the budget for community schools all around New York State. I'm going to make sure we have 2 more again, or maybe 3 in the Bronx. So that's something that's very, very important. Thank you, Bob. Anybody else?
I've got a comment. It's not well advertised, but I want you to know how much a lot of the farmers and a lot of the small businesses have to thank you for raising the inheritance tax. You forgot that. The inheritance tax used to be like $100,000. You're going to raise it to $5 million, the same as the federal government. But that's very important because of small businesses. They couldn't leave their businesses to the family.
Businesses, all that family
They would be
farm.
taken over and taxed to death. So the farmers thank you, small businesses thank you, but it's not very well advertised what you
Yeah,
did.
you're right, because, you know, a lot of people kind of take the wrong approaches. They think we're doing favors for rich people. But again, I mean, everyone knows that in many cases when people start to get older, they'll go to Florida, they'll go to other places and do their estate planning there and not live off the last 10, 15 years of their lives. We're losing all the revenue and everything else that goes with it because we were so out of sync with the federal estate tax. I mean, so now we leveled it, so at least we have the opportunity for people to stay here, as you said. Small businesses can now be left to family members without getting taxed the Hill family farms. So that was something that was important. Thanks for bringing that up. Anybody else?
Could you just repeat the 2 schools that you said that were
Community schools?
You
Yeah,
said PS 14 and
last
what
year PS 14 and PS 83.
83. Okay.
And this year, again, I hope to get, you know, a couple more in the Bronx.
All right. Thank you.
Senator, would you please briefly touch upon today's event?
Well, today, one of the things, I had a press conference today with really members of the community and really people from all over New York State. As you probably heard on Monday, this whole party bus situation. You know, again, I mean, there's always, things always change, and what happens here is, I think, it's really a very serious problem. A young kid lost his life 2 years ago. What happens is they have these party buses. You know, some of them are perfect. You know, okay, you have a wedding, and you have a party bus, or you want to take a tour, or friends, but what's happening is kids, teenagers, underage, are renting these party buses. There's no chaperone. They're getting drunk, they're taking drugs, you know, horrible things are happening, you know, on these party buses. And what's happened is there's no requirement that there's a chaperone. There's no requirement that there's any type of monitoring system. So the driver doesn't even know what's going on the bus. And my legislation is very simple, which I'm going to pass when we go back up to Albany. First, it requires that every party bus that has young people under 21 years of age has to have a chaperone, either supplied by the company, where you have to pay for it, or by whoever is renting it. You know, I don't think it's too much to ask for a parent to be on the bus. You know, if there's going to be, you know, 40 18-year-olds, you know, on board. The second piece would require that all of these party buses are equipped with electronic devices that will tell them when a window is open, an emergency exit is open. You know, a young kid 2 years ago popped his head out of the roof and was decapitated. You know, also everyone on there was drunk. Nobody, the bus driver had no idea what anyone was even doing, you know, on the bus. And if you ever saw these party buses, probably dating myself, they look like discos on wheels.
Yeah.
And have strobe lights and everything else, and, you know, again, you know, I guess it's great, but, you know, with drinking and, you know, underage drinking, I think it causes a big problem. So I'm hopeful that the press conference we had today, we had some victims, you know, parents of kids who lost their lives on these things. This is not only a New York State problem, this is becoming a national problem. So I'm hopeful we'll be able to pass the legislation based on the grassroots support that I have today. Well, again, thank you all very, very much. Happy Passover.